the internet. It is Tuesday, the 27th of June, 2017. A lot of times on my vlog, you will see me drinking a homebrew. You know I do enjoy a homebrew while watching a sunset, but I've never shown you how I've made the homebrew. I'm completely out of homebrew at the moment, and so I've ordered five different kits from a online brewery. These guys are called Aussie Brewmakers. I have no affiliation to this brewmaker except that I bought 5 of their brew kits. It's a bit cheaper to buy them online instead of buying individuals from supermarkets. The range that these places have is way better than the supermarket. So this is a Cooper's Devil's Half Ruby Porter, which I'm going to be making today. Now, unfortunately, the way that homebrew making goes is it's not a process that you make the beer and then drink the beer. You make the beer in kind of 2 parts and then you drink the beer a month or so later. So right now I'm literally completely out, and normally I'd have my home brews in here, and as you can see, these are all my empties ready to go for a new batch. So that's why that's empty. This guy here is going to be used to make a homebrew in that, and I'm going to show you how I do that. It's a little warm though, so first of all I'm going to take this off, which will also segue into a beautiful transition to NSD. I hit the fan. NSD this episode is Berlin Rock Coaches. Now, NSD traditionally is a band t-shirt, you know this. This specifically is not a band t-shirt, but it is a t-shirt that's associated with bands. Berlin Rock Coaches is probably the premier touring rock coach bus line throughout Europe. And whenever we've toured with Tracer on a nightline, we've always used Berlin Rock Coaches. We've had great times each time we've been involved with these guys, and that's why I'm wearing the shirt right now. What can I show you from the history books of Berlin Rock Coaches and myself? Well, I can show you a small tour of a bus. You'll see a little bit of the bus, and then I'll show you a snippet of a driver we had on this tour. Was a driver called Nick. He was a great dude, and on the last day of that tour, I think we were in Belgium, Nick the Greek made us lovely souvla before we left. It was a beautiful parting gift. What do you got here for us, Nikos, on our last day together? You've gone all out, haven't you? So good, man.
Had worse ways to start the day, hey team?
And Nikos, we say goodbye to you today, man.
Yeah, I'm not going that, man.
You want to come to the UK?
Yeah.
So if you do happen to be touring in Europe with a rock band and you're using Berlin Rock Coaches, you're going to have a great time. Now, about that homebrew. I'll give you the very, very basic rundown of how this works. This guy here is where the brew is going to be stored. If you're completely new to home brewing, all you really need is a container. This happens to be a specifically designed container. It's got a lid, and it's also got what's called an airlock. This needs to go in here, kind of like this. Not really like that, but you get the idea. That's got to go in there. Inside the lid of this here is yeast. That's got to go in there. And then what creates the alcohol is some form of sugar. Now I'm using brown sugar because this is a porter. This also has to go in there. The other ingredient is very simply water. You got yeast, you got the beer mix. That's actually called a wort, W-O-R-T. Don't know why. You got sugar and you got water. That's the 4 ingredients. There is one other ingredient you need, and that is time. What you have to do is put everything in there and then you just wait. There's a little bit more to it than that, but that's in a nutshell. Very, very important. This thing is clean and sterile. This is just for cleaning, right? So I'm gonna clean that with the detergent, then I'm going to rinse it very, very thoroughly, and then I'm going to sterilize it and add those ingredients, and then I'm going to wait. I'm going to do this outside because we're now dealing with water and I don't want that stuff indoors. Now, in my entire home brew process, I try to use rainwater. At the back of the house here, we have a rainwater tank, this guy here. So I'm going to use this not only for the cleaning process, but also the filling up process, the cleaning of the bottles, everything. I just use rainwater. I'm gonna give this a real thorough scrubbing. Once I'm 100% confident that I've cleaned all the detergent off here and off the lid, I do it again about 3 times. You don't want any contaminants in here at all, and the only way to be 100% certain is to be 150% certain. And I'm still gonna sterilize it, but that's gonna happen later. Now we come back inside, grab the wort. A lot of the times they tell you to turn the can up the other way. Inside here is a syrupy liquid, not unsimilar to maple syrup, but a real lot thicker. It helps to heat it up to get it out of the can. So I've got on the stove here some water boiling. So I'm gonna add this to in here. All we're doing is heating this thing up to let it become more viscous and more liquidish. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up a kettle, get it boiling, and that's how I'm going to sterilize the fermenter. This kettle leaks. Look at this. Probably not the safest when you're dealing with electricity. Anyway, that isn't the safest, I've got to admit. If it does short out, it's just going to trip the switch anyway. It's not that bad. I need to get a new kettle. In my haste to make this vlog, I probably should have opened this thing before I put it in the water. It's fine, it's not that hot. You might want to do it differently when you do yours. All right, kettle's boiled. This part from here, you probably should try to do it sort of quickly. Once you've sterilized the fermenter, you don't want to faff around too long. You want to sort of add the ingredients and you want to seal it up as quickly as possible. You got a fair window of opportunity though, but just don't sterilize it and then go away and have lunch or whatever. You sterilize it and then you continue the process, which is what I'm about to do now if I stop waffling. It's important to sterilize everything that's going to touch the brew. In this case, it's going to be the lid, the fermenter, obviously, make sure that it's closed. And I've also got a stirrer here that's going to be used to stir in the wort with the sugars. Put that in there, add some water, grab the lid, sterilize it. What I'm doing is making sure every surface of everything gets touched by the sterilizing water. I'll open up the valve at the bottom here. And once I'm confident that everything has been touched by the sterilizing water, I will close this for the time being. I just put the lid on top just so that nothing can fall in. Now, this guy's ready. So what I'm gonna do is I need to take this and dump it into that. But to do it while vlogging with one hand is going to be very sketchy. So I'm going to put you out there, then I'm going to walk out with it and dump it in. There it is. There is always bits left over in here. And as you probably can hear behind me, I'm boiling the kettle again because I need to add boiling water to this mix anyway. So what I do is I get the kettle, pour the kettle into here, mix it all around a little bit just to get the remaining parts of the wort out. Approximately 1 kilo of sugar roughly equates to about a 5% alcohol by volume. There are ways to work this out like 100%, but for me, I don't really care. I know from brewing, and I've been brewing since high school days, roughly a kilo is around about 5%. I like mine a little bit stronger than that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add this full kilo of brown sugar, then I'm gonna add another half kilo of white sugar. Should make this beer about 6.5%. Very roughly, and I know there's going to be people out there that say you're all completely wrong. You need to use a specific gravity thermometer, and you can do that. Sure, you can definitely. Do I do that? No, I've even got one. Do I use it? I don't care. I just know what I like, and it's for me, it's not about the exact science. It's more about making it and enjoying it. Sorry for that steam. Oh, it's boiling water, isn't it? And again, in my haste, I didn't do what I said I would do. I was going to use the boiling water to get the rest of the can out. I normally do this, but I'd completely forgot because I was vlogging. My mistake. I'm going to fill this up now with water from the rainwater tank. What I also do is I put a tea towel over the top of the nozzle here, just in case there's anything in there. Maybe there's a leaf that got in there, maybe there's some sediment in there. If there is, this tea towel will catch it and it will not go in the beer. That's how I do it. Again, you might think I'm nuts. I know I'm nuts. And that's pretty much as full as I'm going to put it. I like to give a little bit extra in there just because I know that some of it's going to spill out the top. You'll see that happening in a couple of days when it starts bubbling and fermenting. You lose a bit, so I don't mind filling it right up. This little guy here, the yeast, this is what makes the alcohol. Now, on some molecular level, this little guy interacts with the sugars in there, and I don't really understand how it all works, but I love it because it makes it alcoholic. So thank you, yeast. All you do is add this to the top here. Fold it in, seal this bugger up, And now in here, this is your airlock. Now what this does is, it tells you when fermentation starts. I just get a half fill. By the way, that's not my hand shaking, I'm just shaking it to get it in. You just want to get it like that so that it's half is full, so that it's got a level there. So this guy goes in here. And that's it. Now I said before we wait, I'm not going to wait here. What I'm going to do though, we are in the middle of winter here in Australia, and even though you can't tell from right now, it does get cold, about 6 degrees at night. It's not very cold for the rest of the world, but it's cold for Australia. I've got a little heat pad I put this on, and I'll put it over there, and then if I need to turn the heat on to make the reaction happen, which I neglected to mention, so the reaction only happens at a certain temperature. The reaction between the yeast and the sugars only happens at a particular temperature. I put it on the heat pad just to make sure. So what I'll do is I'll set the heat pad up over there, and then I'll carry this thing over. Let's put it in here. I'm not going to turn it on because I don't know if I'm going to need it, but it's best to have it there, sitting there. If you need it, you can flick it on. If not, and that there is now going to sit for a couple of weeks. What I'm specifically looking for, and I'll show it to you when it happens, probably on the daily vlog, this guy here will start bubbling. So the yeast will react with the sugars, creating gas. The gas will come up, it'll go through this airlock, and you'll see that in the form of a bubble. Now, if it doesn't happen within a couple of days, turn the power on the heat pad and give it a good shake around to get that yeast reacting again. So until that happens, we can't do anything. We just need to wait for time to do its thing. This vlog will not conclude with the drinking of the homebrew, but it is such a beautiful afternoon. Actually, it's not at all, it's rubbish. But I'm gonna go out and have a beer somewhere anyway. Gonna head down to Como, hoping to see a sunset, but I don't like the chances. There's cloud everywhere. You've seen this place plenty of times before in my vlog. Como Rail Bridge. We might be getting a sunset over there tonight, so I'm gonna cross those fingers. Oh, yes. You know where we are, where I am, where you are. Please excuse the helmet hair. Look at this. The other side of Como now, Oatley. Been a while since I've been down here. In an ideal world, this band of black cloud will disappear and we'll get a beautiful sunset, but I don't think it looks all that promising. Today I've been making homebrew, but I do happen to still have some beers from Dronus 4x4. If you remember my last vlog, my last regular vlog with Jordan Pike from Jordan Pike's travel vlog, we're in Sydney, we went to Vivid and we cracked open one of Dronus's beers and we shared it to each other. Tonight I'm gonna have the second of his sparkling ales plus an Oettinger. Oh, that might be an overreaction, but man, a nice cold sparkling ale with the sun going down. So there is a tiny smidgen of a sunset happening over there. Still a little bit of a chance, but it's not really gonna happen. But you know what is gonna happen? The second beer from Dronus 4x4. He sent me 6 long necks of Coopers and also 6 individual Oettinger Pilsners from Germany. We said it in the previous vlog, this beer isn't that good, but that's beside from the point, because the fact that you sent this to me is more the point. Dronus, it's people like you who make this world a pleasure to live in. Wow, that sounded really lame. So, Oettinger, you're Dronus, you're not. I mean, look, let's be honest. Beer is good. Oh, did I just spit on my lens? I think I did. Beer is good, regardless. Actually, no, that's not true. VB is shit. VB is an Australian beer. It's shit. This beer, I want to try to stay positive because you mailed this to me. It's not very nice. But thank you. Sunset was kind of okay. It was a little bit quick, but that's winter. We're in winter right now in Australia, so that's pretty much how it rolls. Now I know that whenever I'm down here, which has been probably 3 or 4 times on the vlog, I tend to do my end piece, which we're out of time. I tend to do it right here on this rock, and I don't want to get repetitive. I don't want to do that. I want to mix it up a little bit. So I had a text message from a friend who said he saw my homebrew vlog And he's like, you know what, man, I've got a batch that's actually ready to drink tonight. And he lives not here in Oatley, but across the bridge in Como. So I'm gonna take my electric skateboard and go across the Como Bridge, and we'll go and have a homebrew with an old mate. Oh, that's we're out of time! I'm always running out of time on my vlog. Hey, if you like that content, please do me a solid and subscribe here. Check out the previous vlog here, and check out a random vlog here. And if you like doing the snappity clickety clack, that's photography. You might get a kick out of my Lightroom 6 presets here. Does that mean 20 seconds?